Hello everyone, this is Defense Politics Asia, and this is the summary for the day of 960 for the 10th of October. So massive news coming out from the KURSK front, the KURSK front. As the Ukrainian KURSK offensive seems to be collapsing, and this time around, so previously it was like a stalemate kind of thing that they cannot get breakthrough. The Russians have a limited counteroffensive that didn't manage to go much further after the initial success. Now we have the latest update coming from the KURSK front, where the lines is starting to collapse seemingly, and so this comes after the Russian Defense Ministry previously announced the capture of Novaya Surkina as well as in Perovsky. This was the Russian claims by the Russian Defense Ministry. And now we have geolocations that came out over particularly on the western flank of the KURSK front. Russian forces geolocated along the road as well as going all the way to Zeleny Shaik, where they actually encountered Ukrainian tanks. And this leads to a massive frontline changes. So based on the confirmed frontline change, I would say that it's something like this. So I think I need to zoom in. So this is Zeleny Shaik, and then Karanevo is over here. So this area here, this line all along the highway, as well as leading to Lyubimovka, where the Russians was previously geolocated at. This area here is now confirmed, based on DPA's analysis and or opinion, that is now fully captured by the Russian forces. If you look at the pro-Russian sources, the pro-Russian mapping, as well as I think Surya Maps, which is a neutral source, they map it a bit more in the north, where Medvedevka or Govka is now all taken by the Russian forces accordingly. And Crimea Noe is also expanded their control based on Surya Maps mapping. The Rybas mapping includes a big part of this massive forest around here. Surya Maps do not declare this forest under Russian control. But so with all these geolocations and whatnot, Russian forces have massive success over this western flank. So if I zoom out a bit, we can see the full extent of the possible Russian advance in the western flank, and this is a massive change of front line. Just this chunk over the Zeleny Shaik is already 30 square kilometers. The other one, this is 11, so that's 41. This one is 17, so 50, around 50, over 50 square kilometers has been retaken by the Russian forces. And this also comes at the same time where the Russian hacker group, the Joker DPR, basically have revealed, I mean, it could be propaganda, it could be misinformation, but they say that the Zelensky's command have decided to abandon the KURSK front, and this hacker group is asking the Ukrainian soldiers to flee. Of course, they are pro-Russia, so it might just be misinformation, but the frontline changes seem to reflect that there is some massive Russian offensive ongoing, and the Ukrainians are seemingly struggling to do something about it. Deep State UA also ranted about this, saying that the Ukrainian command is not really taking care of the KURSK front and instead trying to form a new army corps or something. So Russian forces also seem to have progressed around Chemyshevka. According to Surya Maps mapping, this corroborates part of the DivGen's mapping that links all the way to Novaya Soroshkina. And based on the mapping by Deep State UA, Ukrainians also seems to have given up part of the northwest of Perovsky, whereas the Russian forces seem to make some progress around there. So this is looking super bad. Latest report from Ryba, the pro-Russian source, is talking about the Russian forces moving towards Malaya Loknia already after the capture of Novaya Sorokina. So we are looking at a pincer of salt currently happening that will close up the entire northern flank. The entire northern front may just collapse if the Russians continue to make quick progress, linking up with the forces coming from the Malaya Loknia direction. So this is currently happening. I would say, based on my experience with Joker DPR, They are not always 100% always accurate, but sometimes they can be pretty on the spot. And maybe their intel suggests that the abandonment of the Kursk front by the Ukrainians might actually be true, but we will know within the next week or so, next week or two, to see how the front line continue to change. If the front line continue to collapse like the past 24 hours, then we can actually verify that the Joker TPR's intel might actually be absolutely correct, that the Ukrainians are now abandoning the Kursk front. So Ukrainian forces in the northern flank are attacking Chemyshivka. So they are attacking probably from the Nedenov direction, so coming from the south. But this is limited. The Ukrainians also trying to attack at Lyubimovka, but if you look at the tide of the war right now, this is not going to go very well anyway. So let's see how these continue to develop. This is a massive update coming from the Kursk front, and there's also more updates with the Russians also attacking Derino. So the Russians, on top of all the other stuff, the Russians are also attacking Derino. So that's over here. At the Glushkovo sector, the Ukrainians are still trying to push Vasiloe somehow. They're still trying to push this place where the Russians are attacking towards Novi Put. This is pretty much more or less the same strategic or tactical situation that didn't really change. It has been the case for weeks already. And the Ukrainians are not making the breakthrough, but the Russians are making this breakthrough, which means that the Ukrainians' Glushkovo offensive would be meaningless if the Russian forces continue to make this break towards Sudzha, and this area will become like, it's just be meaningless. They are just getting themselves trapped. There's also more frontline change around Metanovka. According to Surya Maps mapping, they map that the Russian forces have made some advance in the north of Metanovka. So that's something, but not particularly very big per se. But there is possibility that the Russians will start to attack in this direction, and then of course this will link up with whatever offensives coming in the north. But tentatively, I believe that the focus will be in the north, in this area. In the southern flank, Russian forces are attacking towards Blakovo. No Ukrainian counterattacks are being reported at Blakovo by the Russian Defense Ministry, so that's also a possible sign that the Ukrainians are now running out of steam around in the Kursk front. So that's it from the Kursk front. We move into the Kharkiv front. At the Kharkiv front, we have the usual stuff. Russian forces attacking Mali Prokhody, Lipsy, Voschansk, and Taike. Nothing special about all these things. Geolocation at Voschansk, where there's a ODEP 1500 airstrike on another industrial building in the Ukrainian held area of Voschansk. So, but that's about it. And we move into the Kupiansk front. At the Kupiansk front, also massive update coming from this front line. Russian forces managed to make advance south of Sinkivka and reaching Petropavlivka and the area of Kusherivka. So fighting is reported at Sinkivka and Petropavlivka. Fighting is also reported as Tepova Novoselivka, and shelling is reported at Kupiansk. If we zoom in around this area in the Sinkivka region, you'll see that the Russian forces have basically entered into the northern part of Petropavlivka, and this could also explain that why we constantly have reports of fighting at Kusherivka. And the main thing over this area is that we do not know what is the full extent of the Russian push, because this is only one geolocation. There's a high chance that the Russians may have even taken all of this area, and then they are attacking towards Kupiansk and Kusherivka, which means that the reports of the destruction of Ukrainian forces by the Russian Defense Ministry might actually not be a shelling report, but actually is an offensive report. They're like, they offended the Ukrainians. It's very offensive. So that's the possibility. So this is the current situation right here. There is a geolocation of Russian airstrike in Kusherivka. So the Kupiansk front is also looking like a massive danger right now. very similar to the situation in the KURSK front. The advance just this area here is almost 2 square kilometers, not to mention the parts north of it, which is similar, around 2.5 square kilometers. So total 4 square kilometers of changes, plus this, it's around there, less than 1 square kilometers. Over in the Pischane sector, at the Pischane sector, we have fighting reported in the Terbaivka region, Kutelivka region, Kolesnivkivka, Lozova, as well as some updates over at Myazozarivka. The big one is the one at Myazozarivka. According to the Ukrainian mapping, Deep State UA has declared that Myazozarivka has been captured by the Russian forces. So the Ukrainian side is talking about Myazozarivka being captured by the Russian forces. The first declaration of the capture was by Russian Defense Ministry at Ryba on the 11th of June. That was a long time ago. So it's until today that we have the concession from the Ukrainian side that Myazozarivka has fallen to the Russians. So it's been a long time, and this is part of the entire collapse along the Zerabets River. We have Temakivka, Myazozarivka, Andrievka, Vishneve, and further south we have the Makievka region. All this one by one is falling. So it's pretty scary. And over in this Terbaivka, Kotelivka region, Russian forces geolocated to be hit by FPV drone along the road, but that actually invalidates Ukrainian claims of the control of this area here. The Russian forces also claim to have expanded control in the northwest of Terbaivka, according to the information from the Russian side, from Ryba. So that's all from this area here. We move further south. Over in the Sviatove front, Russian forces are attacking towards Zhuzelyobivka, Khorokivka, Makievka. Ukrainian Defense Ministry mentioned fighting in the area of Ploschanka, and shelling is reported at Zymsky, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So yeah, that's the strategic situation around here. We move further south to the Kremina front. So this Kremina, at the Kremina front, Russian forces are fighting in the region of Novosadove, Torske, and through the Serebryansky forestry. So that's all for this area. We move into the Sivers front. At the Sivers front, just for those that are wondering what is the orange one, orange means this is now disputed claims. This mapping by DivGen, which is a pro-Russian source, for those that do not know the drama over the past few days. So which is why I put it into orange, because their mapping is now being scrutinized. So I'm mapping it separately to make sure that we can verify if this is true or not, and that's basically it. So Russian forces have attacked in the region of Verkhnokayamsky. According to the Surya maps, Russian forces have made massive advances along the entire front on the east of Verkhnokayamsky. Fighting is also reported at Sivers and Zvenivka, according to the Russian Defense Ministry. So this continues to be the case, and there's some small updates along the river at the Seversky Donetsk River, not important. So that's all for this region over at this Sivers front. We move to the Bakhmut front. Northern flank of the Bakhmut front, Russian forces attacking Orokhovo, Vasilivka, as well as Chasivya. But so that's about it. Nothing much. Like I always say, I don't expect much things from the Bakhmut front. This don't make sense to no. There's no sense of wasting soldiers around here. Over in the south of Bakhmut, Russian forces are attacking Stuposhki and Bilahora, and that's about it. Moving into the New York front. At the New York front, Russian forces are fighting in the region of Toretsk, Skibinivka, New York. New York is reported by the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. They're still talking about New York. And fighting is reported at Sukabalka. And we have a new location of fighting being reported at Valentinivka, as well as Kalinove. And shelling is reported as Alexandro Kalinove. So the main thing is over at Toretsk, where the the neutral source, Surya maps claim that the Russians have more advanced than anyone else has reported. They claim that the Russian forces have taken the entire, this central region. So it looks like a garden to me, and so there is monument and whatnot. So there is pretty much like a central park, as well as some other buildings, schools, the residential area. So this is mapped by Surya Maps. No one else mapped it this way. Very, very, very bullish. So we'll see whether this can be corroborated. Like as usual, for those that do not know, I do not know where Surya Maps sources are. He don't reveal it. So he said that he has his own sources. So we shall see how these go. We move into the northern flank of the Pokrov front. Fighting is reported at Vozdivizhenka and also at Morolubivka. There is a geolocation of airstrike in the north of Timofeyevka. So that's about it. Nothing special. I don't expect Russian forces to push out from this area. And over in the Khorodivka sector, or the Pokrov sector, I don't know which one I should call it, in the Pokrov front, Russian forces have massive success around here. According to Ukrainian information, Russian forces have captured the MKK, the Mykolaievka, Krasnaya, as well as Krutaya chain of settlement. All of them fought at the same time, according to the Ukrainians. And so this includes the frontline change that declares all three settlements captured. Russian forces are attacking towards Promin and also Lysivka. According to the Surya Maps mapping, there is more advance around Lysivka region. So that's all from this area. If I zoom in, you'll be able to see that the MKK region, Russian forces fully conquer the rest of the settlements around this area. So these are all the major advances around the MKK region. And after which the Russians will have to take out this entrenchment and the forest before they can continue to focus on the next objective, which is Manograd. So which is this area here. So the Russians would then have to push up, but they need to conquer this area first before they can actually focus on Manograd. Fighting is already moving towards Promin, so this is already mentioned just now. So over in this Lysivka region, Surya map that the Russian forces have taken the entire eastern part of Lysivka. So this is also very exclusive to Surya maps. No one else mapped it this way. So we shall see how these continue to be corroborated or not. And as usual, all sources will always be scrutinized. It doesn't matter their reputation. So that's why I have multiple sources as a source for this mapping on the DPA's map. Over in the Selidove region, there seems to be some advance other than the Russian advance in the south, moving to taking part of the railway line. So let me zoom in a bit. The Russian forces have been geolocated in new locations, and this leads to Russian forces closing up these open grounds in the northwest of Mikhailivka, and the fighting is currently pretty unclear. The Selidove region, the information is very scarce. I would imagine the Russians are attacking from the north, south, southeast, east, and now, of course, northeast. So they are trying to build up the front line so that they can actually launch the major assault on Selidove. So it will still be a little bit of time for the Russians to form up the front line. Over in the Khernik region. And the Khernik region, fighting is largely reported in this sector west of Khernik. So Russian forces are fighting in the region of Sukharine. For the first time, we have fighting reported at Kremina Balka, according to the Ukrainian Defense Ministry. Fighting is also reported at Novoselidivka. So that's all. Of course, this by DivGen. Tentatively, I put this as a disputed, I would say, because not so sure if this is legitimate. And we move further south to the Kurakove sector. Russian forces fighting in the region of Maximilianivka and Georgievka. So that's about it. We move further south to the Vodiane Konstantinivka region. So Russian forces are fighting in the region of Konstantinivka, Antonivka, Katerinivka, towards Bohov-Yevlenka. Geolocation of Russian forces getting shelled. So just off Vodiane, and there is a Ukrainian vehicle, the Humvee, getting destroyed or hit by a FPV drone. So Russians are still pushing, but this, of course, doesn't seem to be the main focus right now, as major advances is currently happening elsewhere. So I believe that this area here, I think many of you guys will be less interested, as the actions in other places is getting way more exciting. Over in Zolota Neva, I have mapped in the Ukrainian claims of Zolota Neva. So this just some update. I already mentioned this in the frontline changes report 12 hours ago. So we move into the Zaporizhia front. This is Zaporizhia. This is the Zaporizhia front. And there is some updates. So over in the Melanivka region, Russian Defense Ministry reported attacks in this area. It could be just this geolocation of a helicopter guided missile strike in Melanivka. So that's one. This over in the Huaypole sector. We move into the Orikhiv sector. This Orikhiv, Russian forces are fighting at Malotomashka, Robotine, and Kopani. There is some updates of the front line on the Ukrainian mapping, but we have already mapped this long time ago based on geolocation. It's only now acknowledged around 2 days ago by the Ukrainian mapping. So for those that which is why for those that may be wondering, I saw some comments talking about it, that Deep State finally acknowledged about the loss of Robotine. Yeah, just to tell you why I never talk about it, because we have already mapped that front line changes super long time ago, at least since 15th of May, very long time ago. So and over at the Kayamsky sector, the Russian incursion into the northern part of Kayamsky is allegedly gone. According to the Ukrainian information, they say that the attacks, these recon groups or DRGs has been eliminated. Ukrainian forces have retaken the northern part of Kayamsky. So, which is possible because, yeah, I mean, attacking to the northern part, you really need to be a major offensive. You really need to push hard and have a strong foothold. But anyway, we shall see how this continue to develop, whether this can be corroborated by geolocation or whatnot. Over at the Kherson front, we have only shelling reported at Tokarivka and Sadove. Otherwise, there's nothing else over in the Kherson front. Pretty quiet front line. And that's largely about it. Over in off Dnipro, there is the geolocation of a Iskander, which is a ballistic missile strike on Ukrainian Patriot battery, which allegedly destroyed the radar and damaged one of the launcher. But yeah, but that's about it. I'm just surprised there's still Patriot around. So anyway, that's it. So this is the summary for the day of 960 for the 10th of October. Frontline change, I will be adding more frontline changes report later, and I'll update them, of course, more in 12 hours time, I guess, on the main channel. So press the like button, subscribe. This is the war channel, so subscribe, support the channel, and I'll see you guys in the next update.